Okay, so first of all, I trust that you all had a fantastic Pesach, especially considering all the time that we had to prepare for it. So the expectations were very, very high. Today we're going to talk about Sefirat Haomer, and if you saw the promo video on Facebook, there are many things about the Omer that can be strange, misleading, even mystifying, if you will. It's a very strange time, and I would like to discuss some of those elements, the ones at least that really, really bother me. So first of all, before we get started, I wanted to say that, not you guys because you're here, but for you people who aren't physically here, if you like it, share it. And if you don't like it, then why are you watching it? And if you like it, but you're embarrassed to tell your friends that you like it, then you probably need new friends. So tonight's learning is dedicated for the Rabbi Shlomo of Menachem Mendel ben Sarabatya, and Devorah Fega bat Rezel, and the Eloi Nishmat Eliyahu Zalman ben Avraham Yisachar. So, amen, twice. So, yes. Okay. So Sefirat Haomer. So I wanted to enlist actually two friends of mine. I've never done this before. I've never brought friends to a class. I promise you, this is the very, very first time I've done this. But I thought that it was such a strange conversation that had to be had about Sefirat Haomer. Yeah, if you don't mind, thank you so much for closed door. I couldn't do it alone, and therefore I wanted to enlist some outside help. And I decided to bring in my two special friends, Kalev and Kelev. So, everybody please meet Kalev. This is Kalev, and this is Kelev. And they are going to help me do the shiur tonight. So I trust you. Don't worry, I didn't lose my marbles. I know exactly what I'm doing. Now, Kalev is as you can see, he has a beard for Sefirat Haomer. He is a slightly woebegone yeshiva bacher. I do see pieces of myself within him. Kelev is a heretic. So, obviously, we also see some pieces of myself in him, yes, which is nice. Anyway, so Kalev and Kelev are going to help us. They're going to have a little bit of a conversation that I have with people on a daily basis about the Omer, shall we? Okay. So, Kelev, the heretic, and Kalev, the bearded yeshiva bacher. Kalev, my friend, I see that you are growing what some people would consider to be a beard. Thank you for noticing, Kelev. Thank you. Kalev, why are you doing this? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's because I'm in mourning. Because Rabbi Akiva's students died. All these great rabbis, they died. 24,000 of them. Oh my God, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. That's horrible. I can't believe I didn't hear about this. When did this happen? 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago? Yes, 2,000 years ago. You must have been very close. No, Kelev, it's not like that. In Judaism, we have great rabbis, and when those great rabbis die, their aura is lost from the earth, and we're mourning the loss of all that they brought to the world. Okay, so sort of like, I get it, if Brady would die, I would be distraught for a few weeks, I understand that. And therefore, because of that, you're in mourning, you grow the beard. That's cool. So, tell me, Kelev, who killed them? Was it the Romans? No. The Egyptians? No. The Ammonites, the Edomites, the Moabites, the Amorites, the Hivites, the Hittites, the Girgashites, the Jebusites, the Canaanites? No. The Filipinos? No. Okay, I give up. Who killed them? God. God killed them? Yes. Why did God kill them? Because they didn't treat each other with respect. The really, really great men that you're talking about that are so awesome that 2,000 years after they die, you're mourning for them, didn't treat each other with respect? That's correct. So the really, really great men that you think are really great were actually jerks? That's correct. This is why I'm not religious. No. Kelev, you don't understand. They were on a very high level. They're on a much higher level that you would not understand. Well, you're right about that. So you count the days until you can shave, right? That's why you're counting days. So every day you say what day it is of the Omer and you count until you can shave, right? No. Well then, why are you counting every day? Oh, I'm counting every day because in the Torah it says that we should count to the holiday of Shavuot, which is when we got the Torah. Oh. What does that have to do with the students dying? Nothing. Nothing? Nothing. Okay, so you count the days to get to a holiday when you got the Torah, correct? Correct. Why don't you just mark it on the calendar? I have to go now. I hope you have enjoyed Kalev and Caleb, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Yes, those are my two friends. So, to make a long story short, Sefirat Haomer just makes absolutely no sense. I mean, it really makes no sense. So, the Rabbi Akiva things aside for a few moments, I want to deal primarily with the Omer itself, at least to get started. We should strive, and then hopefully we'll be able to put everything together and put it into a nice little bow. So why no calendar? Well, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, Jews thousands of years ago, they didn't have a calendar, and therefore they would have to count, and that's a wonderful theory, other than the fact that it's horrendously foolish. I mean, like, really, it actually can't be. Why can't it be? Because when are you counting from? Oh, you're counting from the second day of Pesach, right? How do you know when the second day of Pesach is without a calendar? So then I guess that can't be the reason why we're not using a calendar. So, well, but it's very auspicious, right? It's an auspicious time. Okay, it's an auspicious time. After all, we are counting to the getting of the Torah, the receiving of the Torah. That's very exciting. I mean, this is like our whole religion is based on this. That's super, super cool. So, does the Torah talk about how you have to count up to getting the Torah? No. It doesn't, for some reason. In fact, if you go over to any 7-year-old yeshiva kid, anywhere on the planet Earth, 7-year-old yeshiva kid, you say, what is Shavuot? What is the holiday of, or you can say Shavuos, Pentecost, whatever. Don't say Pentecost, they won't know what you're talking about, but Shavuot or Shavuos, they will know. You say, what is Shavuos? You say, well, that's the holiday that we got the Torah. That's wonderful. Tell me, can you show me, just do me a favor, in the book, here's the book, help me please, show me where in the book it says that that's when we got the Torah. I'll give you a hint. Never. It does not appear anywhere. Now, it's true that was, in fact, the date. When we got the Torah doesn't mention it. You'd think that if we were counting every day to get to the receiving of the Torah, that the Torah would, I don't know, you don't mention it. Just a thought. It's the kind of the main event. It's like inviting everybody to your wedding and not telling them that it's your wedding. You're just like, save the date for Wednesday. What should I wear? Clothes. Why? Odd. So what is it that you are counting? What is it that you are counting? Well, it's very exciting. It's very exciting. Contain yourselves. We're counting the Omer. Now, what does Omer mean? You're going to love this. Do you know what Omer means? Yours really. You know what Omer means?
Omer.
What is it, Omer?
It's the first of your growth.
You would think, because that's what it actually is. But no, it doesn't mean that. You know what Omer means? Kilogram. It's like, seriously, kilogram. It's a unit of measurement. It's like saying watt, or joule, or liter, ounce, right? That's what it is. So we bring the sacrifice of the kilogram. And you know why we call it a kilogram? You guessed it. Because it weighs a kilogram, right? It weighs 1 Omer. That's how much barley was in this offering. It's a meal offering of barley that you make into matzahs because it's on Pesach and you can't have any leaven, even though you don't bring leaven on the Mizbeach anyway, other than on Shavuot itself. So, therefore we call it an Omer. So we bring this sacrifice when we wave it in front of the altar, which is somehow very, very meaningful to people. I don't know, I wasn't there. And then you start counting. And you count 7 weeks. 7 days, 7 times. And then what? Then you bring another sacrifice. And this one is also meal, but wait for it, it's wheat. Ooh, very exciting. It's wheat and it's leaven. And somehow that is supposed to be meaningful to us, that we should count every day. It's very meaningful. Or not, or it's actually rather, frankly, strange and not whatsoever meaningful seemingly. So can you give me, just help me out, give me some examples of things that we we count down to. Like when do we do a countdown? When do millions of people sit together and go like 10, 9, 8, New Year's, right? New Year's. You're in Times Square and there's millions of people that are, barely clothed in the freezing cold of New York, but hey, you gotta make sacrifices. And they want to watch this big glass ball go descend on a pole, and so they all count together 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year! And it's very exciting, right? That's one example. Another example would be like a shuttle liftoff. When they, everyone gets together at Cape Canaveral, and they have this massive countdown, and then the shuttle takes off. That's great. Well, both of these things are exciting. They're very exciting. First of all, New Year's is exciting. Well, New Year's really isn't exciting because it's not the New Year, and even if it was the New Year, it wouldn't really be meaningful. But at least it's, it's a milestone that you can program in your mind. So psychologically, it's meaningful. Shuttle launches are actually quite impressive. I mean, if you think of human beings as fish in like a bowl being Earth, when the fish can figure out a way to get the heck out of the bowl, like that's pretty cool. That's cool. Okay, you're putting me in a tin can and I'm leaving the Earth. That's awesome. That's awesome. We will count. Yeah, it is. That's amazing. That's amazing. We should count down to that. That's something to count for. However, there's a very strange difference between those countdowns and this. Can anyone tell me what the difference is? A fascinating difference. What is the difference between the way that we count for the shuttle launch and the way that we count to the Omer? And I don't even want the most obvious ones. What do you mean?
The shuttle is backwards.
Huh.
Or
Yeah,
New
yes.
Year's is backwards.
You never count up towards something. You count down towards something. You don't count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Happy New Year! No, that doesn't work. You count down. And you count down to the shuttle launch. But on the Omer, you count up. Why? That's very weird. You will admit to me that is strange. That is odd. Number one. Number two. If you were counting up to a shuttle launch, which again, like we said before, you wouldn't do, that would be strange. But if you were counting up, you would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 13, 15, 18, whatever. What you would not do, probably, is count like this. Today is the 36th day, which is 5 weeks and 1 day of the Omer. I mean, seriously? It's like we're showing off that Jews not only know how to count, they also know how to multiply in sevens, right? So it's like the original football agents. They needed to know how to count by 7. So you don't merely count days. For some reason, it's also very, very important and integral that you count weeks. Because, if you said 14, not everybody would know that that's 2 weeks. So you have to point it out to them. You say, today is the 14th day, which is 2 weeks in the Omer. That doesn't bother you? It's bizarre. I mean, you'll admit that. Don't admit it to me. I don't care if you admit it to me. Admit it to yourself. It's crazy. It's really weird. Okay, so we have 2 distinct issues with the counting of the Omer. Number 1 being that you're not supposed to count up. You're supposed to count down. Number 2, you're counting in a very, very strange way. And then we have the questions that we asked before, which is, why don't you just mark it on the calendar? Why are you counting towards it at all? And also, why are you not mentioning the thing that you are counting towards? That's like the main billing. When you have a New Year's party, you call it a New Year's party because what you're trying to celebrate gets top billing on the flyer. And yet here, nothing. You get literally nothing. Okay, now, I have a theory about counting up versus counting down. I don't know if it's true, but it makes sense to me. It's intuitive, so I'm going to share it with you. It is very simple. When you count down towards something, what you're really doing is you're saying, how much time do I have in between now and where it is that I want to be? So I have a major event in 2 weeks. So first I have 2 weeks, and then I have 1 week, and then I have 1 day, and then I have an hour, and then I have minutes, and then 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Which means that the time is really inconsequential on its own. I'm trying to get through it and past it to the event which is on the other side of it. Whenever you are counting down, it has this in common. It's how much time do I have to get through to get where it is that I want to be. That's what counting down means. Now that is quite the opposite of counting up. When you count up, you're saying that each piece is part of a cumulative whole. So you could say, I have 1 bottle of Diet Coke, 2 bottles of Diet Coke, 3 bottles of Diet Coke. You can't have 3 without having 2 and having 1, because inside of the 3 are the 2 and the 1. So each object, each item that you are attaining is inherently important, inherently meaningful, and cumulatively meaningful as a unit. Which means that if you're counting up, you're not trying to get to something on the other side, you're trying to accumulate certain things on the way there. That is why you would be counting up. And again, think in your own mind about how you count things, and this is going to be remarkably intuitive. It makes sense. Okay. And why are you counting days and weeks? Why not just count days? Or just count weeks, frankly. Right? You have 7, 49 is divisible by 7. So just count weeks. Why are you counting both? Well, if you're counting days and weeks, then that tells you that there are 2 things going on here. There are 2 different things going on here. There is a micro, there is a macro. There are essentially 7 categories of things which have to be accounted for. And within those 7 categories of things, each one of them has micro accountings. So, for example, if you're like, I don't know, Mario Brothers, right? So you play Mario Brothers, and someone will correct me if I have this backwards, but like in each world there will be 3 levels. You'll have World 1, Level 1, World 1, Level 2, World 1, Level 3, World 2, Level 1, etc., etc. It's not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Worlds, levels. Why are they broken down that way? Because you have micro units and macro units, and within each unit there are divisible parts. Well, if the Torah tells you that you have to count days and you have to count weeks, that tells you that you're not counting one thing. You're counting 2 things. You're counting 2 things. We still don't know exactly what the goal is, right? We don't know what the goal is. It would appear to me that if you tell people to count towards something and you don't tell them what it is that they're going to attain at the end of it, it's because you're not counting to attain the thing at the end of it. If that was important, you would mention it. Apparently, it's very unimportant. So it need not be even remarked upon. Well, so what's the important part? The counting is the important part. The process is the important part. And only the counting, only the process is the important part. And therefore, it literally doesn't even mention where it is that you're going with it. Can't find it anywhere. Because who cares? That's not what this is about. I'll give you an example. If I tell you, if you work and get $50 together, then I'll give you the watch. Okay, so you're really working towards a watch. The dollars are not what's important to you. The watch is what's important to you when you go through the rigmarole of attaining the dollars in order to purchase the watch. However, if I tell you you have to do 50 reps of push-ups, it's not that you do 50 reps of push-ups and you get something. What you get is the fact that you were changed by doing the 50 reps. The action is what changes you. The action itself is the purpose. You have that with exercise. You also have it in relationships. If you get the person that you love a rose every day for 50 days, it's not that, oh, I'm going to get her a rose every day and then she will love me. It doesn't work that way. I hope. Maybe in the movies. It doesn't work that way. I'm not getting you the rose so that you'll love me. I'm getting you the rose because I love you. That's why I'm giving you the rose. I want to give you the rose. So every rose that I give you is the reward and is the point of my giving it. It's not a piece of something else. So it's the same thing by Sefirat Haomer. The counting of the Omer is its own purpose. You're not counting to get somewhere. You're counting because each one of those days, each one of those micro units, and then each one of those macro units changes you. We haven't seen how yet. Hopefully we'll have time for that today. If not, I'll get you before Shulu is on it. Now, when you're counting, if every single day you're gaining something, then what happens if you miss a day? What happens?
Consider you can't counting without a rule.
That's true. But conceptually, if you're going in a cumulative process, and you miss one step, what do you have?
A broken process.
Broken process. You're nowhere. So, like when you're in yeshiva, or even as a kid, but I remember this distinctly. You're like, okay, so I missed Marv one night. Big deal, big deal. I'm in Marv every single day. I even remember the name of the mashkiach who would cost you $5 if you were late, or if you weren't there. $5 was a lot of money when I was in high school. It was a lot of money back then. And they would cost you. And I'm like, why did I miss one day? What's the big deal? You're not allowed to say Sefirat anymore with the blessing. You lost your blessing. You see, they're like, why is God such a, I don't want to say it, but like, you know what I'm thinking? Chill out, man. Relax. Tranquilo. Chill. Why is he like that? You missed one thing, the whole thing's gone? Well, yeah. It's a process. Of course, it's like having a domino effect and you're missing a domino. So the next domino's not going to fall. The process is going to stall wherever it is that you stalled because there are the micro units and the macro units. So of course it works that way. You can't get to 7 if you don't have a 5. You have to move. You have to move in order, and you have to progress in this prescribed manner. So basically, you're refining yourself. That's what you're doing in Sefirat Haomer. You're refining yourself. Well, if we're refining ourselves, then what's that?
Counting.
No, the counting is keeping track of the refinement. The counting, they are telling you in no uncertain terms that every single day you need to do something that wasn't done the day before. Otherwise, it's not 1, 2, 3. It would just be do something this week, week 1. That doesn't work. You have to move through 7 weeks, 7 macro categories, and within each macro category, you have to hit every single step in those. And then when you're done with all of it, then you will be a very different person at the other end. Very different person, which by the way, we would all be. I mean, if you do any of those, 80-day challenges, eat cookies and tomato soup and don't eat anything else and you'll lose the weight. It works. If you stick with something for 80 days, and then afterwards, of course, you die. But until then, you're good. So it's important now that we kind of back up and get back to the Rabbi Akiva thing, because if you think that there's no connection between the students of Rabbi Akiva dying and the Haomer, then you're out of your cotton picking mind. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you how I know. Because the Gemara that cites this history, that 24,000 of his students died, it points out that they all died at the same time period. When did they die? In the Sefirat Haomer period. Well, if I'm mourning the fact that they died, tell me something. When did Rabbi Akiva die? No, let's say. When did all of the 10 martyrs die? Doesn't say. It was a day that ends in Y. It was during the Roman period. Who cares what time of year it was? It doesn't make a difference. What matters to us is the fact that they're dead. Doesn't matter how necessarily, or what time it was, or what day it was. So by pointing out that it happened at this particular specific period of time, that means that the Talmud is drawing a parallel between whatever it is that went wrong with them and the fact that they died specifically now. So that means that the Talmud understands that there is a very intense connection between what happened to them and this period of time in Sefirat Haomer. There's a massive connection. It's a huge connection, and it's a requirement to understand exactly what it was. So before we delve into what I believe the problem was with the students of Rabbi Akiva, I would like to quote the president, Frank Underwood. President Frank Underwood likes to say that to improve is to change. To improve is to change. Now let's keep that in the back of our minds for a moment, and let's analyze the story of the students of Rabbi Akiva. So, Talmud says as follows. There were, how many students do you have here? 24,000, thank you. 24,000 students. Actually, the way that the Talmud puts it is he has 12,000 pairs of students. 12,000 chavrutot, and like we've mentioned from the Sefirat Haomer, we all know how to multiply, so we know that 12 times 2 is 24, and then you just add the zeros, and it's 24,000. So there's 24,000 students. And they died. Why did they die? Al shalom nahagu kavod zel hazeh, because they didn't respect each other. They didn't treat each other with respect. First of all, I think it's very important that we point out, where in the Torah does it say that if you don't treat people with respect, we're going to kill you? Doesn't. Thank God it doesn't. Right? Because I'd be dead. That would be horrible. It doesn't say that anywhere. Oh, but they were a really high level. Has that answer ever satisfied anybody in the history of humanity? We killed the students of Rabbi Akiva. And by the way, the Gemara points out they died badly. The students of Rabbi Akiva, all 24,000, have to die because they didn't respect each other. First problem is, you're not chayiv misa. You're not liable for the penalty of death if you don't treat somebody nicely, okay? We just call you, you're a putz, you're a schmuck, you're not a nice guy, you're a jerk. You're a jerk. I'm not going to kill you for it. You might not have a great shul membership. In fact, I know jerks that have a fantastic shul membership, so it's not even a detriment to your rabbinics. Sometimes it helps. So, why are they dying? That's weird. Another thing that's weird, all 24,000 of them they were all mean. All of them? Since when are Jews all anything? There's like, what, 20 of us? Like, you think any two of us think exactly the same thing? All 24,000 had no honor for each other. It's a strange thing to imagine. Hey, the Talmud says it, I'll accept it, but it's a weird idea. It's just a bizarre notion for that to happen. So the truth is, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. It's just not. So the idea is, I think this idea is my uncle, by the way. I don't think he came up with this. He said, if you look at the language of the Talmud, it's actually very indicative over there. It says there are 12,000 pairs of students who did not treat each other with respect. Let's think about this again, if you please. 12,000 pairs who did not treat each other with respect. When I was a kid, I was taught that the study partners did not treat one another with respect. So if you and I are study partners, I don't respect you, you don't respect me. You know what the problem is with that? It's not what it says. Because it doesn't say 24,000 students who didn't treat each other. 12,000 pairs who didn't treat each other with respect. If the pronoun is on the pairs, then who's each other? The other pairs. Not the study partner. What does that say? That says that the chavrutot, the pairs, did honor each other. They didn't honor the other guys. Why? Why would that be? It's a weird concept to fathom why that would be. I can think of a very obvious reason. Simple reason. Because my chavrusa and I, we know how to learn. We know how to do this. We both went to Brisk. And say, oh, Reb David? No, AJ. The other one. This specific way, this is how you learn. Then, what do they know? That doesn't mean they weren't nice to each other. Doesn't mean that. There are rabbis who are very nice, and there are rabbis who are very not nice. If you think all 24,000 of these rabbis were all not nice to each other, it's just very far from understanding to say something like that. However, to say that each pair understood their learning to be correct, and any learning outside of their learning to be very sweet, but nothing more. So they were lo nahagu kavod. Let's understand this word just for a little moment. Let's use our language, our ear for language. What does the word kavod mean? I would say honor, right? Kaved et avicha v'et imecha means honor. What does the word kaved mean?
Heavy.
Heavy. It means heavy. It's funny, even in the English it means this. When you say, oh, that guy's heavy. It doesn't mean fat dude. He's heavy. You have to reckon with him. He is a person to be reckoned with. You cannot ignore him. He displaces a lot of water. He is meaningful. He is heavy. That's what kavod is. Kavod is giving the space and the weight to the other person. It's exactly what it is. I'm giving you your weight. You have weight. I can't just go like this. I can't wave you away. Well, you can have very great scholars who like each other, and they're nice to each other, and they don't take the other guy's derech halimud, his way of learning. I don't take that seriously, obviously. That's ridiculous. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know his ear from his elbow. That was a problem. That's a big problem. It's not a problem because it's not nice. That's not the problem. Like we said, this Torah doesn't say be nice. It doesn't say that. It's good to be nice, probably, but not always. And it depends how nice is nice. So it wasn't an issue of niceties. It's an issue of to grow is to change. So let's examine this for a moment. if my chavrusa and I are the only ones in the world who know how to learn, and we have exactly the same derech halimud, the exact same way of learning, I exist in what we like to call hall of mirrors, or an echo chamber. I exist in my own self-contained little Facebook echo chamber. So all of my friends are this, and all of your friends are this. And I will never hear a hostile word on my Facebook page, because after all, everybody thinks exactly like me. And you will never hear a hostile word on your Facebook page, because everyone thinks exactly like you. And I can totally insulate myself from hearing things that offend my wonderful little egelach, because I surround myself with the people who are right. And it's fascinating. It's fascinating. I've noticed this more and more. Like, especially in the last couple of years, it's just that the world is exploding with this. It's on cable news. The world is exploding with this. We no longer discuss ideas. We discuss truisms and people. So we say, she's bad. Why? Because she does not respect a woman's right to choose. So she's bad. And the other person says, no, she's bad. Why? Why is she bad? You kidding me? Because she's the opposite. That person, he's terrible. Why is he terrible? Because he thinks that a man is a woman and a woman is a man. And the other guy says, no, you're terrible because you don't extend rights to trans. So you're terrible. It's amazing. It's amazing to me. You looked at this, the election was like so starkly understandable with this. He said, oh my God, I hate him. He's a Hillary supporter. Really? And you're a Trump supporter? That's so much better than being a Hillary supporter? So each one, that is no good because you're this. What are we not doing, ever? Discussing the actual, issues? Maybe we should, should we be pro this? Should we be pro that? Maybe you don't have to hate people because they disagree with your view of climate science. Oh, I said it. I get this so funny because I get this question. People ask me, especially the younger students, because I'm old, so they want to know. They want to know, like, if I've realized these truths yet about the world. And they say to me, "Do you believe in global warming?" Believe in global warming, like it's God. You believe in global warming. I mean, do you believe in the Yankees? And my answer is, I don't know. Seriously? You don't know? No, I don't. Why don't you know? Because I'm not a scientist. And I see this news outlet saying that the whole world is going to blow up. And I see this outlet that says, no, it's just a money grab. And I don't know, and I have to admit it. I don't really care. I don't care. Because there's not, the whole world's going to blow up anyway. Because the crazy man with the bad haircut in Korea. So it doesn't matter if there's global warming or not. He's going to blow up the whole planet. Who cares if there's global warming? We may as well have a Coke and go to a football game and enjoy each other's company. Chill. Anyway, to take it back to this issue. So at the time, specifically at the time, where you're supposed to be refining yourself, every day, refining yourself towards a very specific goal. Well, what did we say refinement is? Change. And the number one prerequisite for change is the openness to something that you're not yet, or to something that you have to stop being. And if you live in that little echo chamber, you're doomed. You can never change. You are frozen in time. You are Han Solo. You are frozen. So, let's go back. If these guys weren't like the greatest guys ever, why are we mourning them? We don't mourn them because this is a very popular idea. You know how much Torah we lost when they died? A lot. A lot. You know how much Torah we lost when Moshe Rabbeinu died? More. And guess what? It's the best part of the Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu died, and Otniel ben Kaz figured it all out. We have the book. We're good. Lo b'shamayim. It's not in the heavens anymore. God forbid we shouldn't lose the great men. Of course, we need them. We need them. We need the great people in our congregations, in our generations. Of course we do. But you know what? When they go, we have the next guy. We have the next man up, like in the NFL. Next man up. Bledsoe goes down, in comes Brady. In comes Brady. We're not mourning them because we lost the Torah. Tell me, do we have a day of mourning for when Rabbi Akiva died? When the Romans scraped off his skin when he was still alive and hung it in the street, in the market? We don't have a day for that. We don't not shave for that. We never have specific days of mourning for losing great people, with the exception of Gedaliah. That's its own story. We can talk about that later. It's a political problem because he was assassinated by a Jew, and it made the Babylonians throw all the Jews out. That's why. We don't mourn people. We don't mourn people. So why are we mourning them? Well, the answer is we are and we aren't. If Chazal, we've said this point many, many times before, and it's a very important point. You can either think that when the rabbis say to do something that it's magic, and they say, well, if you eat this, or wave that, or say this, or go there, then you will get magic points. And they are redeemable in a time of trouble at some point. You can go to God and say, hey God, it's like Dave and Buster's. You hand in your card, and God gives you mitzvah points. That's possibility number one. Possibility. And I'm not discounting the possibility. It could be. There's another possibility, however. The other possibility is these actions will help you live and lead a fantastic life. That's the other possibility. And you may not always see the connection between this action and this consequence. Many times, we do not see the action and reaction of things. That's fine. I'm okay with that because I don't know everything yet. So I'm fine with that. So if the rabbis are telling you to act a certain way in a certain period of time, maybe there's a reason for it that will actually enhance your life. Well, you'll notice that the things that we do make us very conscious of something. Very conscious. Well, if this period of time is so important for self-growth, so important that we don't even tell you what's on the other end of it. And by the way, what's on the other end of it isn't like a pot of gold and a leprechaun. It's the Torah. It doesn't get better than that from the Jewish standpoint. It doesn't get higher than that, and it ignores it. That's a very powerful message that the process is so important. So that means every single day we have to be working on ourselves to get better every day. Every day. Categorically better. Well, then the rabbis say, wow, be really careful. Look what can happen to people who were greater than we will ever be. And they blew it. And they blew it because they weren't receptive. Because they had their little 4 cubits in the yeshiva. They had their little corner with the book, and they didn't have to engage with anybody else who thought anything differently than they did. Stop thinking of the Talmidei Rabbi Akiva as people who wouldn't hold the door open for their friends. It does them and us a great disservice to dumb it down like that. That's not what happened. What they were saying is, my derech in Torah is correct. Theirs is not. He's a great guy. I love him. He's wonderful. I'll invite him over for Shabbos. He could marry my cousin. I'll send him shalach manos on Purim. But obviously he's an idiot. That's a problem. That's a problem. I know personally that I'm guilty of this. And I think that Chazal thought that we all are. Because if they didn't think that we all are, they would not have given us such a visceral, primal message. A message that is quite literally written all over your face. All over your face. So the next time that during the Omer someone sees me and says, yo, Sprung, you need a shave, it reminds me that I have to do better. Anyway, with that, so I have a promise to you all. Con la ayuda de Dios, Nezrat Hashem, we will have one session which will be completely and entirely dedicated to understanding exactly what this process is, at least b'gadol, because we only discussed that it is a process, but we have to probably see what that process is. So I hope that all of you have a very, very meaningful Sefirat Haomer, and that every day we progress a little bit more so that we're not the person that we were the day before. So that at the end we can be totally transformed and metamorphosized into something completely different.